Hello friends, we have planned our deployment, we have prepared our nodes, but one additional preparation needs to be done for the block storage, which is Cinder volumes, and also for Swift, which is object storage. Both of them by default in Packstack installation use a loopback device. A loopback device is a file which acts like a block storage device, but in production systems, if you are going to use LVM backend, it is recommended to use an additional disk or maybe multiple disks with RAID storage on them and utilize create partitions and send logical volume groups for Cinder volumes and then do installation on those logical volumes as well as for object storage, additional partition is needed. So we'll go over the steps needed to. First, you will identify your spare drive. It could be a single hard disk or a RAID device. So you can use the LSBLK. So in your controller node, plan on an additional spare drive or multiple drives with RAID partitions or even without RAID also. In this case, we have a drive SDB which is available, which will be used for the block storage as well as the object storage. So we are going to create a label for it, which will essentially wipe any other partitions on it which are there already. So this, keep in mind this dev SDB should match with your spare drive or your RAID volume, and it will be different in yours. It could be different in your scenario. So we have created a partition. Now next step is to split this drive. We are splitting it into 0 to 70% and 70 to 100% for block storage and object storage, but you can use separate drives also for block storage and object storage. So we are going to create our first partition, which is going to be used for our block storage for Cinder volumes. And then we are going to create our second partition, which will be from 70% to 100% for the object storage. Now, now I will create a physical volume on the first partition. You may have to force create it. Physical volume is successfully created. Now we'll create a volume group on this partition called Cinder volumes, and this Cinder volumes name will be specified in the response file so that Packstack knows what volume to use for the block storage creation. Now on the second partition, we'll create a logical volume. Uh, Actually, on the same partition, we create a logical volume for Cinder volumes pool. The, so the block storage partitions and the volume group and the logical volume are created. We just need to specify this name during our installation. Now let's create a file system for our object storage on the second partition. There was existing partition, so we have to use specify minus F. So the partitions are created and you can take a look at it. So our SDA drive is our primary root drive and it has the root, swap and the home partitions on it. This is a drive which will be exclusively used for our block storage as well as our object storage. So SDB1 is for the block storage and SDB2 is for our object storage.